Well, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you may be. This is Sauna Talk, and this episode was recorded in New York City at the recent Culture of Bathing gathering. It was mid-December, January 2025. We were blessed with some really great weather. It was dry, it was cold, but not super bitter cold. Allowed us to walk from one bathhouse to the next in Manhattan and on the subway over to Brooklyn. But really the event was the gathering, international gathering of, I think it was close to 100, probably 80 people from around the world, most from North America, most bathhouse owners, and I attended. I was super pleased to have a little back-end help in the beginning of the organization of this event, along with several others, under the direction and advisorship and leadership of Robbie from Thermë Group and Adam, the COO of Thermë North America. So this is interesting. So I'm walking around with my hand recorder, and honestly, I could have walked around all day recording different conversations, interviewing different guests, but I had to distill this episode down to a few, and I'll do a quick introduction of who I visited with and who you will hear from. Starting with Shelby. We were walking to the event and an impromptu meeting with her. She's based in Berlin. She works for Thermë Group over there and brings artists and designers into the Thermë bathing facilities globally. Then we hook in with Dimitri Shapiro, co-owner of the Russian and Turkish Baths, formerly 10th Street Baths, down in Lower Manhattan. And it's just a fascinating story of his father, taxi driver, said enough of this and invested and built and bought in this 130-year-old Russian and Turkish bath bathing facility where we attended. Then we visit with Don Genders, founder of Design for Leisure. I've been wanting to get Don on the Sauna Talk for many years. And we get to hear from him and his early adoptership into the commercial designing of spas and around the world. Cosmo, the wellness director of Thermë Group, based in Bucharest, he's an unbelievably fascinating guy, deserving of his own podcast. Graduate from medical school, extremely knowledgeable about plant and plant medicines through biology, and Aufguss. In his work in bringing Aufguss into the facilities at Thermë. And he goes on. I mean, I could spend hours talking about Aufguss specifically and his expertise in that area, along with Lassie Erickson, who's been a 2-time member of Sauna Talk. So then we connect in with Vicky. Vicky will have her own Sauna Talk podcast a little bit later, so check in with that. She's a founder of Earth Sauna in Victoria, BC, Canada, where we talk about training, Aufguss training in North America and the need for that. And then we wrap up with Megan, the founder of Du Nord Sauna based in Duluth, Minnesota, who had a presentation at the Culture of Bathing gathering in New York City just recently. So without further ado, super pleased to bring you this episode. Very fascinating in the middle here and also on the edges. Enjoy. This show is brought to you by the Sauna Times Consultation Program. Are you or someone you know facing some decisions about building or hiring to build a sauna? Are you perhaps afraid to move forward because of the know-it-all pedantic chatter on those internet sauna forums? Well, Aristotle said, the more you know, the more you realize you don't know. And nobody knows less than me. I've been building saunas for 30 years, and through every consult, I meet you with an open mind with the ultimate goal of helping you realize your authentic sauna dreams. I can help with your sauna heater choice and help break some ties with a possible loved one. I have a PhD in sauna building diplomacy, and the doctor is in. I've seen it all, and then some, and have some bandwidth to help you too. Interested? Please go to saunatimes.com and click the consultation link at the top of the page. Now, on to the show. So we're walking in the streets of Manhattan, and I bumped into Shelby. Shelby, hello. Welcome to Sauna Talk. Explain who you are and what you do.
Cool. Thank you so much, Glenn. I'm, as you said, Shelby, and I'm actually an artist and a painter, but I'm also a sauna enthusiast, and I work for the company Thermë Group, or Thermë Group, in their art division or company based in Berlin. And we're working with different artists from emerging to established to integrate their ideas and innovations into the saunas, to bring their artworks, their installations, and integrate them for people's experiences.
That's fascinating. For listeners, what would be an example of an artist that you helped bring forth into the Thermë Group and their installation? Like, is it fine art? Is it wall art? Or just what's the first artist that comes to mind or project that you've worked on? And you mentioned Manchester. In England and Germany?
Yeah,
and
exactly,
sure.
exactly.
Thank
so
you.
We're working internationally across many different cities. But to answer your question, the first artist that we started working with back in 2018, his name is Egil Sebjornsson, and he's an Icelandic artist based in Berlin. And he represented Iceland at the Venice Biennale. And we're working with him to create an installation for our facilities, and it's an immersive experience where he's involved in the architectural design, the interiors, integrating projections. I won't say too much more because hopefully we'll be opening that in the next couple of years in Bucharest, in Romania.
Right.
But yeah, that's one of our projects.
That sounds fascinating.
Yeah.
And so that will be in the facility, in the bathhouse.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And what do you think of New York? Have you been in New York before? You've been here, right?
Yes, I have been in New York a couple of times. I used to live in the States. I studied fine art here at the Maryland Institute College of Art.
Sure.
But yeah, I haven't been back too much since, and I'm very happy to be here for this.
Were you in the? Were you taking a sauna last night? Were you in the bathhouse last night?
Of course, yeah, it was amazing.
Explain for listeners where we were last night and about how many people were there and who you knew.
Of course. So yesterday we were at, I guess, a bathhouse called Other Ship. It's in Manhattan, and we were here together with, I'd say, 100 other people in the Other Ship, and all of us are bathing, sauna enthusiasts, and we were there. I would say it's not the normal sauna experience because I'm usually quite introverted and speaking quietly in the sauna, but everyone was so excited. It was almost like a big party in a way.
It was. We were all sitting, we were all sweating. We weren't wearing much. I think I see Robbie straight ahead.
Okay, perfect.
Let's follow him.
There we are.
Yeah, and it was loud. It was loud in there, and crazy in there.
It really was.
Yeah, and this is Other Ship. This is in Flatiron District of Manhattan. A big public sauna, very Aufguss-centric, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you go to other saunas in Berlin? Do you go? Are there bathhouses and saunas?
Totally.
Yeah.
So in Germany, bathing is really popular. It's a bit different than I think in the United States.
It sure is, absolutely. Who do we have here?
Hi, I'm late. Oh, are you? What are you doing?
We're just saying hello.
Oh, hello.
Yeah. These are colleagues. This is Robbie.
Yeah.
Both Thermë folks.
Yeah.
We're talking about Berlin and the different bathhouse
cool.
experience. So you want to go upstairs?
Yeah,
You go upstairs.
I'm late.
Robbie. Okay. Thank you for visiting with us.
Thanks so much, Glenn.
So we were just talking about life story, and you had introduce yourself for the listeners.
Hi, I'm Dimitri Shapiro from the Russian Turkish Baths.
And we were making a joke here about, can you tell your life story in 2-3 sentences? And lay that on me one more time. What's your story?
Don't remember exactly how it went, but I was in the moment, so now I have to think about it.
Yeah.
It was, my parents took over a place. We were the only place. And it became the most popular place, and now everybody wants to be like us.
That's exactly right. And so what year was that? If you had to date that, when did, so your parents bought the place or built the place?
The place is, the Russian Turkish Baths, formerly known as the 10th Street Baths, was built in 1892. In 1985, it was for sale because the owner had died and his kids didn't want to run it. And so basically we were given a rundown building for, I guess, $1 million, which is a lot of money in 1985. And my dad had been a taxi driver. I'm not sure what his partners did. I know one of them was our next door neighbor.
And was your dad born in America?
No, none of us were. So my dad was born in Siberia. They fled like the Ukraine in the 40s before he was born. He ended up in Siberia. I was born in Uzbekistan because that's where my family ended up. We came to the United States in '79.
Wow.
Dad had been worked odd jobs, and then he was a taxi driver. But he had his own medallion, and he didn't want to do it anymore.
Yeah.
So he's like, I'd rather do anything but be a taxi driver in 1980s New York. So they found this bathhouse, and although they'd never run a spa or didn't really know anything about it, they're like, well, this will work for us. I don't know if they were aware of the AIDS scare that was happening at the time and that every other bathhouse had closed. But they figured there's a way they could turn this into like a profitable men's club, sauna place.
There was a calling. Your dad must have had a big calling to purchase this. That was a life change,
He wanted his own business.
Right? Yeah, wanted his own business.
He also understood the value of real estate.
Yeah.
That he's like, I'm buying the business and the building.
Right.
Neither of which is worth what they paid for it at the time, but they outworked everybody.
Yeah, that's great.
He worked from 6 a.m. till 2 a.m. every day.
And how old were you, like bringing you into the story? Like, do you remember growing up and, you know,
Yeah, I was 11. I was 11, so I remember, well, my brother was 8. I remember coming down there, the place frightened me. The East Village in the 1980s was scary. It was a dangerous place for teenagers. So much so that like I kind of made I made a movie called Little Ukraine, a fictionalized version of our space. Came out a couple years ago, available on Tubi.
Wow, that's awesome. You made a film about the bath.
Originally a TV pilot, didn't work, and then instead we turned it into a 90-minute film.
That's fantastic. Good. And for listeners, how can people access the film?
It's available on Tubi right now. Tubi.
Okay.
The app.
And
Little
what's
Ukraine.
the title?
Little Ukraine. It was originally called the Russian Room, but then Putin started bombing Ukraine, and I had to change the title.
Yeah, understood. So bring us forward. So you're 11 years old.
Yes.
Early memories. You didn't love the place. It was.
Why would I? It was scary.
Yeah.
It was a scary place filled with scary people.
Right.
Yeah, and it was run down. It was gross. But you know, we grew to love it, and my parents worked really hard at it. My mom eventually joined my dad in I think 87 or 88, a few years in, because they had decided to do a system where, he couldn't work 90 hours a week, so they kind of worked together. And then eventually, him and his partner decided that they'd work. Bars would work the weekend, and my dad would work the weekdays, and they'd alternate Thursdays, and eventually became 7 on and 7 off, 7 days on, 7 days off, which exists to this day like 35, 38 years later.
Wow, amazing. Yeah. So you came in age 11, were you kind of mopping up at night as a young kid? What was your first role at?
Probably towels, probably working the front desk.
Yeah.
But I was also in school and had other jobs, but I pretty much worked part-time since like maybe junior high school into college and law school, and then full-time in the year 99, which would be like right after law school.
Amazing. Amazing.
Yeah.
So bringing it up to current, it's an obvious question, Dimitri. You probably get asked this all the time, but how do you reconcile, or how do you view this movement? Like, did you see it change very gradually with your clientele, or did things just sort of like blow up pretty quickly at your facility?
I would say my place was very gradual, and now it's dramatic.
Yeah.
So I would say when we started, we had our regulars, and if our regulars didn't show up, we didn't have any money.
Right.
Because it's very hard to get people in. People still had the stigma of the word bathhouse. They didn't want to come. They didn't want to understand what our place was. It became better when it became a co-ed spa. I mean, we still have a men-only and a women-only times, but it became a co-ed spa, so business became better. And we slowly started seeing more and more women come. But I would say probably within the last 10 to 12 years, I've seen it kind of steadily increasing. A lot more younger people more interested in health and wellness.
Yeah.
But I've seen that with spas overall.
Now, I'll be at your facility tonight, and I'm really looking forward to it. I think if I have an early feeling of what this could be like for me tonight, I have a hunch I'm going to be seeing like Slavic, ethnic, old school folks intermixing with,
Only the ones here.
Yeah.
My place, like, So it's called the Russian Turkish Baths. That's just the names of our 2 rooms. We don't really have like a Russian culture to it.
Okay.
And that's just like it's just a more Americanized. It's more of a New York Jewish culture than it is traditional Russian. Like the one thing we do that you won't find in a Russian bathhouse in Russia is we allow water, and they like their places bone dry.
Right.
We think having a little bit of humidity, having cold water to dump on yourself, you can stay in longer, you can enjoy the benefits longer.
Cool.
So you'll see a very diverse group. Our clientele's become younger, more women, more gender diversity.
Yeah.
You'll pretty much see everybody in.
Right on, right on. And how do you feel? You're old school. You grew up literally in this from an infant.
Well,
how do you see?
Well, we did it. As an infant, we did have spa culture, but I was a little older when we started this.
Yeah. Are you happy? Are your days good?
Am I
Is it
happy?
chaotic? Yeah.
Am I
a
happy?
day in the life of Dimitri? Like you wake up, do you go right over to Russian Turkish Baths?
I work with my brother, so he's the day guy. I'm a night guy.
Okay.
And we only work 7 on and 7 off.
Yeah.
Obviously, we do other stuff for the business while we're not around. I really treasure my time off. Like I get to do this.
Yeah.
I get to go to these conferences. I get to travel. So I don't like I live and breathe it, but I don't need to be there.
Right.
The place runs very well. Everything's set on a timer. Everything works. We have really good maintenance guys. We have really good staff. So I feel like I can step away. I've been doing it for so long.
Right.
So I think someone once said, like, a good manager does everything. A great manager does nothing. And that's my goal in life. Is to hand it off. So I like the place, I like it a lot, but I like the solo time I get to spend with my family there, do our own private steams and our own lunches. We have a great restaurant, which I don't think will be open tonight. But yeah, that's what I like.
Dimitri, last one for you is explain a little bit behind the curtain of the heat source. You mentioned there's 2 hot rooms, one in the Turkish hammam style, is that right?
Not exactly. So we actually have 5 rooms. So the Russian room is our biggest room, it's our main room. Giant concrete room. There's 10 tons of, granite, unfinished volcanic rock. That's inside the oven.
Yep.
We heat that rock overnight.
Yep.
And
is that heated through gas?
yes, it's a gas furnace.
Yeah. So this is a common Russian banya style, where the gas night.
It's almost a lost art, but yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it takes up a lot of space. You need a basement for the furnace. You need a particular type of archway to hold up the rocks. You have to replace the rocks every 6 years or so.
And how old is the stove?
It's constantly being fixed, but it's the original. It's about 130 years old.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. And so this is the main. Sorry, you were going to say this is the main hot room, right?
Yes, that's the main room. Also, we've got running water, so you can stay in there longer. Obviously, as heat rises, you stay lower, you get less heat.
How many levels of them?
3 levels. 3 levels. Very hot by the oven. So that's our main room. That's the thing that people really come for. Our Turkish room is kind of like a hybrid room where it's heated by radiators, like a steam room, but it's still a bit dry.
Yeah.
And then we also have another little steam room, an aromatherapy steam room, and a cherry wood redwood sauna. And those are 5, and a cold plunge, which is about between 38 and 42 degrees.
Well, I can't wait. Dimitri, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Glenn.
Russian Street Baths, 10th Street? Or
Russian and Turkish Baths.
And that's on 10th Street.
It's on 10th Street between Avenue A and First Avenue.
Yeah, and we wanted to get the name right because it used to be called 10th Street
That's
Baths.
That's correct. We realized that when we were the only one left, and since we had a giant sign that said Russian and Turkish Baths, which you'll notice other people do, because that's more of a style of heat. I said, let's change all our branding to the Russian and Turkish Baths. And that's what we've been known as for the last, almost 40 years.
And guess who I bumped into just now? You are?
Don Genders.
And Don, for listeners, tell us your role and where is home for you?
Home for me is London and an aeroplane. And spent about 6 months of the year travelling. And have done almost since I first got into this field of spa and wellness design back in 1991.
And just to kind of take a chronology wise, what were you doing prior to 91, and what brought you into the space of sauna and wellness and design?
Oh, okay. I started life as a school teacher. And then decided it wasn't for me. But I was a teacher of design and technology, so it was the design side that led me out of teaching. and through the fields of industrial storage, office planning, space design. And it was the late 80s when offices in the UK, which is where I only worked at the time, offices in the UK were building corporate fitness centres. Corporate fitness centres led to health clubs and fitness centres, and then the fitness centres started trying to compete by improving their spa content, and it was when I found the spa content and specifically, saunas and high quality saunas in Germany that I really sort of fell in love with that element of the business.
Early 90s, and your current role and title?
I'm CEO of Design for Leisure. We've got headquarters in London and Austin, Texas.
Fantastic. And was the company around in 1991, or did you form it? Or?
In 1991, I was working under the title of Design for Leisure. It was an unincorporated company, effectively a sole trader, and I was selling my services to architectural teams and people who wanted specific leisure design.
So you founded
technology.
the company?
I founded the company.
And as a consulting company initially?
Initially, yes.
Fantastic. Yeah, cool. Take us up to current day. So, passing through your journey from 1991 to today, you've seen a lot of change, and you've brought a lot of change.
Yeah, I mean, in the 90s, it was we were very much sort of in formative years, and general wellness wasn't even a word then. It was, and it certainly wasn't a word in the vocabulary we have it today. But the interest in self-care and wellness was there. The groundswell was already there, and then I think the big change for us came in 2003 when I had this phone call out of the blue from Canyon Ranch in Tucson,
Arizona?
Yep. Tucson, Arizona, and they said, "Hey, look, we've heard about you, and we want you to come and work on a project for us in Miami." And I go, wow, but don't they sue everybody over there, and, am I going to lose my house if I get it wrong?
Yeah, that's the American way, right?
And,
so you got on a plane,
came
to America.
Yeah. Well, after lots of assurances, I got on a plane and came to America. And that was mid 2003, and by the end of 2003, we signed our first contract with Canyon Ranch, or with their developer of a project in Miami, and very soon afterwards also for their project in Las Vegas, the Venetian. And from there on, we just saw so much opportunity in the United States. Opened an office here in 2006.
In Austin?
Initially in Vegas.
In Vegas initially.
And then Matt Williamson, my business partner, came on board, and I realized I needed an American to be able to speak American to Americans. And Matt, then we moved the office a few years later to Austin, mainly for his family reasons, and it didn't matter to us where we were because we covered the whole of the States anyway. So we established in Austin, and we've grown from strength to strength there.
Fantastic. So for listeners, Design for Leisure, tell us about. Are you mainly commercial? Is this your forte?
We started as commercial, and we didn't seek any private or residential business at all. But that found us, and mainly through architects and interior designers we worked with on commercial projects who were also working in the residential field. They said, "Hey, no, we got a client who wants this in their home," and also some of the commercial projects that we designed. And by this time, we were also building them, and people would go and stay in the hotels. And they'd ask the hotel, "Hey, look, who did this job? I want this in my home." And so that side of the business has grown, and we've just now hived off a separate residential division with our own sales team and own management team.
These aren't just hot boxes. I mean, I when I think about you and the work you've done and stuff, I think about snow rooms and water, like water in many different forms. Can you share with us a little bit about the portfolio as it relates to product from an experience standpoint? Like if I'm going to a facility that you've designed and consulted and made happen, what's the spectrum look like? Like the rainbow of options for people that you provide?
Well, in very simple terms, it's everything that makes you hot, wet, or cold. And that, of course, can be, you can get cold in water, you can get hot in water, you get cold in the air, you get hot in the air. And it really cover the whole gamut. So, if you like from the coldest room, we do snow rooms, and then we get a bit warmer in ice rooms, and then we'll go up to the tepidarium, and you move through the gamut,
Yes.
through the laconium to the hammam to the steam room to the sauna, and then of course again with pools, I mean you can make the water temperature anything that a human can stand.
So you have a lot of vendors, I guess is the right word?
Partners. We like to think of them as partners. I mean, there are companies that we are doing business with today, such as Clafs, who build our saunas in Germany, recently acquired by the Kohler company, and my first visit to Clafs was in 1992. So it's a very long association. And we got that sort of long association with the vast majority of our partners.
That's special. Yeah, I can relate to that.
And it is.
That's really saying something about many things, and quality, your intuition of choice of partners, the longevity of your partners. I mean, you've stood the test of time in a very dynamic industry with your relationships.
Yeah, look, it's about loyalty. And you find the right people, and you find the right products, and as long as we all evolve together, because it is an evolution story. We're not doing the same today as we were 30 odd years ago. But what and let's be fair, then we aren't really doing anything different today that the Romans were doing 2,000 years ago, and the human body hasn't evolved much more. We still can't take any more heat or cold than we could 2,000 years ago. What we are doing, though, is we're doing it in a more responsible, more ecologically efficient way, where
with some modern equipment,
modern technology,
yeah.
and one of the things that is very exciting, the way we're going is the whole sort of neuroaesthetics that are evolving, and things you can do for people to stimulate their senses whilst they're using all these types of relaxation facilities that have been around for thousands of years, but it's evolving, and it's so exciting.
Tell listeners a little bit about what I'm holding in my hands and what this work means for you.
Oh, the Guide Hydrothermal Spa and Wellness Development Standards. Okay. This was a story that started in 2009 at the third Global Spa Summit, as it was in those days, when we as an industry were challenged by the consulting industry, specifically the operational spa consultants, who suggested that our side of the industry were uncooperative and didn't share enough information free of charge to them.
There was gatekeeping happening.
Yeah, we explained that, hey, look, come on, if you want the best bar in the world, as you all do and all your clients do, then that hasn't been invented yet. Mm-hmm. So, we have to create something, and creativity takes time, money, and people want to work for wages. Mm-hmm. But we did take note of what they were saying. And so as an industry, we got together, and it took us until 2014 when we published the first one of these books. But this was something it was a gift. It was a gift to the industry from us. We don't sell it. We never have sold it. There is no advertising. There is no trade names anywhere in the book. And everybody agreed to leave their ego at the door. And collaboratively, there are 24 different contributors who put efforts into this book.
This is amazing. When you say leave the ego at the door, that reminds me of when they did the Live Aid and We Are the World, and they had all those famous musicians. And this is like sort of that. You have the famous musicians behind the curtain producing these spa and thermal retreat centers. Somehow you're able to do that. You're able to say this is not a commercial thing. This is this is a gift to the industry, right?
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
we're not talking quite Bob Geldof numbers yet.
Yeah, right.
But we have paid for it ourselves.
Now, when you say we, explain for us who we is.
We are the Hydrothermal Initiative, which is one of many initiatives now that collaborate and work together under the umbrella of the Global Wellness Institute, and that is the not-for-profit educational side of the Global Wellness Summit. And there are many, many fantastic initiatives under that umbrella, and we all work in different ways, and we all get together and do our own thing. But we were one of the first initiatives, and we are, arguably, I think we're probably the oldest now.
Yeah.
Because we, some have come and gone.
Sure.
But we just keep on going.
This is fantastic. Are there? Can you tell us a little bit about how the Global Wellness Institute is structured, and you're affiliated with them?
Well, we are. They invited us to form an initiative, and that was really from that conversation we held back in 2009, and then they had these ideas, and they said, well, look, we really need a hydrothermal initiative. Would you form it? Mm-hmm. So I happily did that, and I've chaired it since that time, and the people that are part of this, and there are competitors, who are contributing to this. So it was all like it doesn't matter. As I say, it doesn't matter that there are people, more than one company, who provide the services we talk about in the book. But there is no official structure to the way we work under the Global Wellness Institute.
No board, no.
We have a board of our initiative.
Okay.
But we have no superior power.
I like this.
As such, it's a case of we are trusted by the trustees of the GWI to behave responsibly.
Don, yourself. So you do sit on a couple of boards.
I do, yes.
Can you share with us?
I sit on the board of the International Sauna Association, and also on the North American Sauna Society, and both really have with a common goal of specifically promoting sauna bathing, and standards and ethics within the sauna community, and that applies to operators, manufacturers, and everybody on the periphery of the industry, who we hope will uphold the original Finnish standards for sauna construction.
That was a key thing. Just to interject on that, my follow-up question to you was, you're British, you do a lot of work in America. You don't have any Finnish blood, but you said something significant there about upholding to the Finnish standards. Can you share, on a personal or professional level, can you share with us what that means to you personally, and how that guides you professionally?
Well, I think that look, everything has an origin. And I, whether I'm a traditionalist, I never thought of myself as that, but perhaps I am. But I always do like to research, and I mentioned more than once, going back to the Roman baths, and that was where my research started. If I thought, if I'm really going to get into this industry, I'm going to learn about it and find out about it, and so yes, so I did go to Finland to learn about sauna. And I went to Turkey to learn about hammams, and then I realized that there were two types of hammams, and then I went to North Africa to learn how the Ottoman Empire had spread, and this had varied as it moved. So I suppose traditionalism is really what drives that, and
on a personal level.
On a personal level, and respect for the past, and the need to proliferate the past into the future. At the same time, embracing modern technology and science.
Beautifully said. And as a practice, sauna as a thing we do, as much as the place we go, Aufguss is a good example.
Yeah, Aufguss. I mean, it's one of these sort of love it or hate it type things, I think. But I think the world is coming round to seeing it for what its true worth is. And that is the expression of euphoria, and the euphoric feeling of that super high that you get from that intense heat. Now, one of the things that Aufguss does, it keeps people in the sauna.
Exactly.
Yeah. Now, no one wants to walk out halfway through the performance, and the thing is, it makes you sit there and through it and really sort of grit your teeth and go through it. But everybody's heard of joggers high. But nobody ever thinks about the other activities that can give you that same euphoric feeling. And for me, Aufguss creates that in people by making them sit that little bit longer, stay a bit longer in the sauna, and really let the heat get to them.
Thank you. Thanks. That's exactly right. Sauna for you. Where do you like to sauna? Tell us about your sauna practice.
Sauna for me. Well, I mean, the easiest way is to do it at home.
Is that in London for
I'm
you?
in London, yeah. I'm lucky enough.
Tell us. In your flat, like a.
Yeah. Well, we live in it. We live in a home, but the home wasn't big enough for us to build a. We wanted a little mini spa. We didn't just want a sauna to replace a closet that two of us could squeeze into. So actually, I was fortunate enough to have a reasonably large garden, and so at the back of the garden, I built a log cabin. Which was big enough then to take a sauna, which will take 6 of us. And we've got a little relaxation area, and got a big bucket trench shower outside.
Fantastic.
So
is this your happy place? Like if you're sitting at O'Hare waiting to, approach the gate, and you've had a long overseas trip, is this where your mind goes?
This is it. It's about going home, and it's one of the things that the home comforts that you have. When you're traveling and you're traveling 6 months a year, as I do, the home comforts actually become very important to you, and so that is one of the things that my wife and I love about getting home.
She enjoys sauna as much as
very
you?
much so, yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Don, we could talk all day, and I just wanted to get some snippets. I'm so glad that I was able to.
Yeah, it's great.
I wanted to have you on the show for 3 since pre-COVID.
Right. Yeah. Well.
And one of my things is I really like to try to visit one-on-one, like at least on. As we are now on a couch here in New York City, but on the sauna bench ideally, and maybe we get to do that one day.
Why not? Sounds fantastic.
Yeah. Anything else? How people can find you? Any final words to listeners?
Soundforleisure.com, we've got you can fill out a form there and say, hey, come and help us.
Right on,
but help is what we try to do.
Cousin, for listeners. Yep. Tell us who you are and what you do.
So I'm the wellness director of Thermë Bucharest for more than 10 years. I'm the experience creator and journey guided. Yeah. So I create experience and journeys in Thermë Bucharest. My base is I finished medical school and I know only essential oils and alternative therapies, like everything that goes with balneology, massages, cosmetics. This is my area of business. And I'm doing Aufguss through Thermë from 2016. Fantastic. And I'm also a jury member in Aufguss VM for 4 years.
Is Aufguss your main thing?
No, wellness, prevention, and health through alternative therapies. That's my main thing.
Fantastic.
Yep.
And I bullied my way into this conversation with Don right here, who I just had a one-on-one conversation with, and we just touched on the surface of Aufguss, but this was an in-depth chat about Aufguss.
So
introduce yourself, please.
I'm Vicky. I'm the founder of Earth Saunas in Victoria, BC, and we're opening in 3 months. And the need has kind of risen to train my staff, and I've been noticing that there's no Aufguss training going on in North America in general, and I needed to go get trained in the UK, so that's how we got chatted with Don.
And Don, this was tried once before a couple of years ago, training in America.
Yeah, well, when we built Resorts World, and that was the first purpose-built event sauna ever built in North America, and Jennifer Lynn, who is now with Fontainebleau
in Las Vegas.
In Las Vegas, and we brought Rob Kaiser over to train the team in Resorts World. Unfortunately, Resorts World no longer practice Aufguss because after Jennifer left, the new spa director didn't carry on.
Yeah.
So there's this beautiful event sauna not being used for the design purpose. Now, there's a difference in designing event saunas Okay, then they're not a conventional sauna. One, they're going to be higher. The ceiling's going to be higher. You have a lot more ventilation. Bring a lot more air under the heaters.
And a lot more butts on the bench spot. We're talking how many people? 60? What's a good number?
Sometimes, 60, 70 people.
Yeah, and the World Championship is 350, 320. So it's a huge sauna.
But you can do, of course, in very intimate settings as well, right?
Yes.
Like we could do
Truly,
10 people office sessions. They're magical.
It doesn't have to be a huge
A huge audience.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, what we need in North America right now is Aufguss training. So that's what we were discussing about. And I really, we're opening in 3 months, right, guys? So I'm really, I have the pressure on, and all of my people that are coming on board wanting to learn. So that's why I wanted to.
And you're gonna kidnap Cosman. He's gonna come over. He's gonna have a one-way ticket.
But when you're talking about Aufguss, just think about it, because the Aufguss appeared as a necessity. So when the first Aufguss appeared, there were like some saunas. So after you heat them up, and after you use them, some guy just opened the door and he puts some more fresh air inside, so new heat and new steam can appear. Right. And also, most of the tradition in Aufguss, if you can find it in Europe and also in Korea and also in the sweat lodge, they use the herbs, local herbs that they had, they put it to dry inside the sauna. So that's an Aufguss, because over the stove, like 20 centimeters above, you just can put a plate, like a metal plate, and you put some rosemary, some basil, just some oranges to be cooked inside the sauna, and that's an infusion that you do. And this is how.
Cosman, let's go back to what you just said about the origin of Aufguss. It really was because of bad ventilation.
Exactly.
In Germany specifically, they were building saunas very tight.
Exactly.
And so it didn't take too much German engineering to figure, I'm going to swing this towel.
Exactly. This is how it appeared. And also, when you're thinking about steaming somebody, when you pour water over the stove, all the steam goes up. And you want to make an even climate, and you want to have like a full body bath. So that's why you need to take the steam and put it from head to toe.
Which is borrowing from the whole Venick treatment of the steam pie.
Exactly.
And bringing the steam down to the sauna bather.
Yeah. Exactly.
Working with the steam.
Exactly.
And that's what you do every day of your life.
Exactly. This is what, but it's impressive.
It's a good life.
And it's impressive the science behind it, because all the movement and all the circular currents that you do with the towel, it's for the sweat, because the sweat is like a protective layer on your skin. But when you move the towel and you make wave, the sweat moves and you can put more heat inside the body. So it's a different bathing experience. And also just think about all the molecules from the plants or the essential oils and can put it into your skin. So from your skin to your lymph, from your lymph to your blood and to your organs and so on. So that's the full benefit.
So aromatherapy is a big part of Aufguss training.
It's a big
part of the Aufguss training.
And herbal is a big plant.
Using quality oils.
It's
It's so important, because
it's hard to find them.
We can give you the suppliers for that. It's a company called Aroman, a guy called Martin, and he's fantastic. He's very and he's super helpful.
Yeah.
Okay, and helping you and guiding you and advising you as well.
I think when we are doing the Aufguss training, I was suggesting to these guys that we took an Aufguss training out to the West Coast, because a lot of people are interested. We should have a big part of that to be.
Well, normally
well.
anybody who's doing your Aufguss training should be able to give you the training on the essential oils.
Yeah.
Okay, then all you need is a good supply.
So
if I could,
holding on the aromatherapy, back to the training aspect. I was with Lassie just last night, and we talked about the potential danger of without standards. This could derail really quickly, where people grab a towel and they don't understand. Like, you took everybody last night to the max.
Almost,
but you didn't push. Like, I have to compliment you, because I was ready, man. I was like, okay. And then you're like, okay, this is going to be three sessions of snow on the rocks.
Yep.
I'm going to carry you through. And I was carried right to the limit, but not over the limit.
No.
And so this happened in America with Native American Sweat Lodge. It was a rebel program where they had plastic tents, and the guy didn't know what he was doing, and people died. 2 people died because they carried it too far.
Yeah, it's not right. Because inside the sauna, you're supposed to feel comfortable and good. You need to have to have a step near to the limit, but never over the limit.
And you need to be a pro. Sorry to interrupt, but you need to be a pro in order to administer Aufguss so you don't carry it too far.
Yeah, you can burn people, you can attack their airways, you can make people like almost asthmatic, they cough a lot, and also with synthetic product, you can have some headaches, you can have a lot of health issue. So that's why you need to be very careful and you need to learn your audience. So in Romania, for example, we never have the sauna culture. So at the beginning, we started with fragrance experience. What that means, we just come with ice balls, with essential oils, and I say, this guy is Menta Piperita from India, just smell it. And we just put it, water, everybody smell it. This is Menta Spicata from India, from China, from Spain, from Portugal, and almost like a sommelier experience, they try to find the notes. And then from 4 to 6 to 8 to 10 to 12 minutes, we prolong the experience, and then we try moving towels and showing everything.
So bring it in gently.
Gently.
It's a lot of education.
Well, yeah, because look, the sauna master. Okay, everyone thinks that all they're doing is just their own thing waving. Okay, they are what they should be. Watching every single person in there, okay? And if somebody starts to look a bit wobbly, because I mean, for instance, whereas waving the towel from the top is bringing all the steam and the heat down from above, but by the same notion, if you see somebody is looking a bit uncomfortable, you can wave the towel up from the floor because all the cooler air is right down lower on the floor.
And you can individually change microclimate for the
each
person. And that's what you do.
Yes, but also with the down waving, you need to be very careful because why? Carbon dioxide is heavier than air, and always it's on the floor. And also you need to think about the molecules of essential oil. So you have top notes, you have heart notes, and you have base notes. Usually the base notes from woody, patchouli, vetiver, and some rachinas, they're very heavy. And usually they go near to the carbon dioxide. So you need to move them sideways, not always from top. Because the real smell will gonna be in the middle of the sauna, not on top. The top will gonna be like citruses, minty, some herbaceous, but the middle sometimes has all the woody smells. And also a good waver and a good sauna master can understand where the mixes are, and they can throw it on you. So right now the mint is coming, then the citrus
changes.
Yeah, always.
Every time you introduce.
Always a journey, right?
Yeah, and it's a moving climate.
And I
you need to
noticed
adapt.
that good Aufguss masters will open the door and then vacate that heavy CO2 air.
Always.
Push that out.
Yeah.
During the cycle.
You can have some Aufgusses that you can do to open the door. You can have like a journey with contrast therapy, but also and I saw this one in the World Spa. They have a good Aufguss master. That guy is from Italy. He's been to the championship before. Very nice gentleman. Because at the beginning of the Aufguss, what you need to do, lower the temperature of the sauna a lot.
Get down to 70 degrees. 70
Don't
Celsius.
start.
Yeah.
Don't start hot.
No, never. And you remove all the humidity. Why? Because then the thermostat will gonna start the sauna oven, and for the 10-12 minutes you're gonna have the oven fully worked. So that's why he put a lot of fresh air inside. He removed everything, and then he let the people in. This is how is the standard procedure for a good Aufguss.
Sauna heaters, okay, run off 3-phase electricity.
Yep.
Okay. Now, if you got, even if you got one heater, even with multiple heaters, and the way the electronics and the control panels work for saunas, is that you won't all of the time have all 3 phases of electricity running. So your sauna heater, you can't necessarily see it, but your sauna heater will not have all of the elements on full blast all of the time. Right. So unless the sauna is cold and in primary heat mode. Exactly. So you have to trick the sauna into thinking it's just starting up the day.
And you want to get it rocking.
You want to get it rocking. You want to get all 3 elements.
And then you get the glow, you get the steam. Explain, Cosmin, different. If you could explain.
And also what I saw yesterday in the World Spa, amazing equipment. They have the EOS Magnum XL, 36 kilowatts, beautiful. And also they have Jedi Stone. Jedi Stone is the cleanest stone that you can use inside the sauna, because when it contracts, it never removes particles of small dust inside the air, and also it cleans the air automatically. So that's the most expensive and the best stone that you can use for a sauna. Ceramic and jadeite, but also some vulcanite and olivinium base and so on. But that one is like the top.
Explain steam as it relates to the temperature of rocks, and how that affects the sauna bather. There's wet steam, there's dry steam.
So look, here it really depends. From my point of view, I really like to use at least water at the temperature of the sauna when I put over the oven. Why? Because this makes, at the beginning, in the entrance of the journey, makes a softer steam, and people can breathe easily, and they can feel it on the skin very good. I don't like to go directly on the cold water and directly on the ice, because that makes a very sharp and hot steam.
Gets you back to the throat.
Yeah, it is almost takes your air, yeah? So that's why I always, from my point of view and from my experience, I like to start with hot water and then to work up. And then you can, you finish with the ice at the end.
So the steam is affected by the temperature of the water being...
Water, stone, yeah. And that's why the ice, you're supposed to put it not on the stone can be on the top, 180 Celsius, 160, 140, 220, depends on the stove, yeah? So that's why you never put the ice directly on 220. No, because also the difference between the rock, you contract it very fast. You're going to contract it very fast, and that rock may break or may remove particles inside there. So that's why you need to cool it first. Yeah. You make it to 160, then you put the ice, or 120, 140, then you put the ice. So the pathway for the oil will going to increase gradually, and you spread very even, and you don't burn the oil. That's very important.
You'll often see a sauna master going over the top just to check which part of the heater is cooler.
And I think that's the very important conversation to have in terms of Aufguss, like one, how do you design your sauna and what type of heater do you have? And I think North America is very, very interesting because I'm from Canada. We're opening this location in Victoria, BC, and we don't have as many sauna heaters approved, and it's a huge problem because we can't
UL
have
certification.
It is a huge issue right now.
Yeah, right.
A lot of lobbying that needs to be done.
All Leo's heaters didn't have UL listing. He had to have them site certified.
Yeah.
Because we designed the World Spa with them, so we know it intimately. And so he had every one of those, and it's expensive. It's like 10 grand to get your on-site verifications done.
Right.
But thank you. It's going to get noisy. I'm going to press pause. Let's do one more reintroduction. We've heard from Don Genders and his background, which is fabulous. How can people find you, and tell us about your project?
Absolutely. So I'm Victoria Chan. It's from Victoria, BC, and we're opening a 2,600 square foot outdoor space called Earth Saunas in about 3 months.
Cosmin, go ahead. Tell us again. How can people find you? And you work for Thermë.
I work from Thermë in Bucharest. I'm in headquarters, but I also work for Thermë Group as head of wellness. You can find me in any Aufguss competition, and when you're searching for Aufguss in Europe, you always can find me. Also as a jury member, also as a trainer and a participant. I everything that is sauna related, I'm in.
So who did I just bump into?
Hey Glenn, it's Megan from Sauna du Nord.
And where's home for you?
Home is in Duluth, Minnesota, where they've just gotten about 6-7 inches of snow, and I'm missing it.
When you say that is with envy. You'd rather be there doing snow angels? Come on.
Well, I mean, it's fun to be in the Big Apple, in the big city. There's no lack of entertainment here. But, we haven't really had snow very much in the last few winters, and there's nothing better than snow and sauna.
Yeah, isn't that the truth?
Yeah.
I mean, would you prefer a Lake Superior plunge or a snow angel, and why?
Actually,
if you had to pick one.
If I had to pick one, snow.
Okay, tell us why.
The lake is the boss, and the lake can be really inaccessible. And what I mean by that is, like, sometimes she's ripping, and you're not going in there. And it's challenging. There's rocks, there's boulders. And the snow is there, right? And you can relax into the snow.
It's neutral.
It's neutral, yeah. The snow is neutral. Yeah, you don't have to read the mood of the snow, right?
As long as it's fresh.
As long as it's fresh, yeah. If it's crusty and icy, it could cut you. Ooh. So you got to be careful of that.
Yeah, I saunaed with Will Steger, just to name drop.
Name dropping. I brought my Steger mucklucks to New York City.
Just in case.
Just in case. I might wear them tonight.
And it was funny because we left the hot room, and this was in a parking lot by the Mall of America with the little box sauna.
This is not lining up with Steger Mall of America.
No, he was in. Yes. It's a long, crazy story, but it was the little box sauna way before any of this stuff. Yeah. And I just so wish I had my camera because like a dog looking for a place to roll around.
Yeah, where am I? Yeah,
he finds this snow pile, like in the corner, and he's doing nature's loofah.
Yeah,
he's
yeah,
grabbing
yeah.
the snow and he's just putting it all over his body.
Jackie and I did that last night at the World Spa. She went into the snow room, grabbed a big snowball, brought it in, and
I spent a lot of time in that room last night because I think we as Minnesotans,
yeah, it was home.
This is our home.
Yeah, it was
I stuck my head underneath. For those listening, we were at World Spa last night, and there's an ice sauna, or a snow room, basically.
Yeah. It literally snows from the ceiling.
Yeah, and I stuck my head. You did too.
I didn't stick my head in there, but I did sit down on the bench.
Yes.
Yeah. Actually, did a little photo shoot in there with the sauna sirens.
Yeah. Cool. I'll have to get a picture of that and hopefully put on the post behind this podcast. I'd love to do that because the sauna sirens had a very important, I won't say important, a very prominent spot here at this event.
Wild.
Yes. And let's talk about some of the people that you've helped galvanize. Your presentation spoke toward the sauna sirens and how this was really formed to bring sauna, women in sauna.
Right.
Am I paraphrasing?
Yeah, I mean, it's really about like women in the owner-operator space and supporting them in their entrepreneurial, saunapreneurial journey and just a support group. But I think there's a bigger picture there, and I think Robbie from Thermë touched on it. I'm not sure if everybody grabbed onto it, but like he had mentioned that in New York City, one of the largest populations of people attending bathing facilities and spas is BIPOC women, and yet, you know, we don't see those people in ownership positions. So that's like the next step, right? Like we can talk about the gender game, but it's a bigger picture of, you know, if you can't be what you can't see. Right, and that goes for everybody. It's not just women. It's just like, just different people, different communities. If we want people to really become engaged in the operations, we've got to create those opportunities and give space for them.
Yeah. So
it's community.
Community. Well, winding the clock back a little bit, you invested in your own mobile sauna, and that was a financial commitment you made, and it was a pull, right? A calling. You probably had no idea that there was this women in business and sauna business and sauna. I mean, the women thing, you weren't leading with that as a direction.
No, I wasn't. So where it's come from for me, like I've always been a bit of an advocate, right? I've always wanted to help create space for people. Sometimes I need to maybe advocate for myself a little better. That's another story and another therapist, right? But for me, it's a parallel to the things I've experienced in my life, in the businesses that I've worked in. I've been entrepreneurial. I've owned my own business, but I always just kept running into like this space of like, it's male dominated. And so I really struggled because I was like, well, if I keep up with the guys, they'll take me in. And that isn't necessarily true. So instead, I was like, I just got to do my own thing and own it, and then help bring others with me.
And you're doing that in sauna. Is this your main thing?
I want it to be. I have a problem. I have a problem that I like a lot of different things, and I'm good at different things that are very specific skill sets, and so I'm working right now and trying to give up some of those things so that I can just really dive into sauna. There's a little bit of like fear, like what if I'm not good at it?
Well, when you're anti-fragile, you are not all eggs in one basket, you know, from either a revenue or time. And you're great at this. I mean, this is your natural thing. I mean, I consider you like a 218, like northern Minnesota.
Represent.
I mean, you'll pull some shifts at the store.
Yeah, the Gear Exchange. Shout out to Duluth Gear Exchange. 510 East 4th Street.
and you know a lot about equipment.
So that's my past life. Is I worked in the outdoor industry selling outdoor equipment and apparel, and this is this really cool place because it's community. Because it's a resale shop for outdoor equipment, but I get to talk about the things I love, and there's some parallels here. What I really love is like you don't have to have the best and the newest and the right equipment to get outside and enjoy our very outdoor world in Duluth and beyond. You can start here. There's a lower barrier to entry. The equipment you have is the perfect equipment.
Well, you could start and end there with the equipment you get. That's good enough.
And also, I love that it's keeping stuff in use. We're trying to keep it from the landfill. It creates accessibility for people. We all have too much. I have too much of this stuff. I don't need another jacket. But somebody can come in and get a really high performance coat that's going to help them feel better outside.
Relate that to sauna.
Yeah, so for me, so there's these themes. So when I first started sauna, I thought, well, maybe I shouldn't do this because I'm not this and I'm not Finnish, I'm not Norwegian, I'm not Swedish, or I didn't grow up with it. But then I realized, well, I can learn that and I can create a space where people like me that didn't grow up with it are like, oh yeah, I can go there. I might not know what I'm doing, and that's okay.
Megan, yesterday at your presentation, you used a term, and I really would like you to revisit that with listeners, this appropriation.
Oh, ascribed status?
Ascribed status.
Yeah, so I learned it actually from Elizabeth, is it Shelby, of Lumu, the Lumu website. So Elizabeth has studied Finnish culture and sort of anthropology, sociology. And I was talking to her about what we call the percentage game. And so there's something weird, maybe not weird, there's something unique about the United States where we look back to our roots, who our ancestors were, where they immigrated from. And we do this I'm, in my case, and I'm making it up because I actually don't know, I don't do the 23andMe thing, but I'm 48% German and 32% Irish, so therefore on St. Patrick's Day, I'm entitled to drink beer and I know it and I know it well, right? Or Oktoberfest where I grew up, I know bratwurst, and so I've always been sort of curious about that. Why do we do that? Well, and so particularly in northern Minnesota, I'm Finnish. Well, yeah, there's a lot of people with a lot of Finnish answers, but are you really, are you a Finnish? And what I'm learning when I meet Finnish people, people from the country of Finland that live there, born there, they just sort of, they don't understand that either. And so what that is that's ascribed status. You're born into something, you had zero control over the two people that got together and made a child, and birthed you in a particular country. And ascribed status is less about being proud of your background, and it's more about holding it over people for power and whatever, right? Ego.
Self-gain,
right? So it's one thing to be proud of where you came from. It's another thing to bring people with you.
Yeah, and we see that in Minnesota. I mean, a lot of it is pride.
It's good intentions.
Sure. Good intentions.
It is really good
Thank
intentions,
you.
yeah.
Well said.
Yeah, much of what we do is good intentions, but if we pause for a minute and ask ourselves, well, how does that keep people out? Right? Because as humans, we do want to affiliate, right? We want to,
Love that.
but sometimes that affiliation closes that circle.
Well said.
So how do we keep it open?
Tell us about your roommates.
My roommates. This is I've never been a girls' weekend person, but these are my kind of women.
Okay, lay it on me.
Yeah. So I have Jackie Stratton from Cedar Grove in Maine, and we share DNA. It's wild. We're interested in the same kinds of things. We're very different people, but she's awesome. I really identify with Jackie. And then there's Kelly from Big Towel, who is hilarious. I mean, we've just been, we were talking.
Had you met her before this trip?
Jackie or?
No, Kelly.
Kelly. I had met her on a Zoom call with the Sauna Sirens.
Right. And Kelly's in Hudson Valley.
Yeah. So she runs Big Towel Sauna and
Mobile Sauna, Public Beach.
Yeah. She's hilarious.
Yeah.
We talked about last night. We felt like we were drunk. None of us had. I think we had a glass of wine.
Yeah.
And we were just falling over ourselves.
And
laughing.
the third?
The third is Katie Husum, my Minnesotan neighbor up in Grand Marais, who operates Sisu and Lolu, which is a different kind of sauna experience. That's what I love about all of us. We do it all differently, but we all have the same sort of values.
Yes, and if I could touch on values, I use the term enoughness a little bit off microphone, and I really appreciate Kelly's talk yesterday, where she didn't use that word, but she says, I don't want to have like a bunch of employees.
Yeah,
and
I don't
stuff.
need to make $1 million.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it was about income, it was about overhead, it was about responsibility. And when you have, she and I talked in the snow room last night a little bit about this, and I think there's a common element with you guys. First of all, you're DIY, like you're doing this on your own. You're not creating layers within your operation, but you're liberating yourself to downside risk and upside fun and opportunity.
Yeah.
And I think that comes with the spirit of enoughness.
Yeah. I think when you look at it from when I look at my business, right, like I'm splitting the wood, I'm moving the wood, I'm moving the trailer, I'm doing the maintenance on the trailer. Like the only thing I'm not currently doing right now is like the bookkeeping. And, a really successful, however we define that, business person on a really large scale might say, you need to farm that out. Like that is not a good return on your investment. Yes, and I'm a startup, There's something about splitting that wood and taking that care to prepare that sauna and getting it really nice and clean and just right and putting the candle in there and making sure my sign, which is a quote by Glenn Auerbach, right, about good sauna being like a candle that lights another candle. There's something that is very intentional about that hopefully translates to the person's experience, that we created this space for them and we have put the love and care. It's like, it reminds me of like a really good cook or a baker, and we're putting these ingredients together to create a welcoming, safe, comfortable, whatever word you need to your why for sauna. So I do love that, and even if I scale and grow, I never want to lose sight of that, and I want to still have a hand in that.
Megan, where's your sauna right now, and how can people sit on your sauna bench?
So the sauna is waiting for me to come in hot tomorrow from LaGuardia, hook it up. I'm going to be taking it to the University of Minnesota Duluth for a welcome week for their spring semester kickoff in like Ordine Court, right, in the middle of their sort of public space. And then I'm going to be taking it to Glensheen Mansion, which is owned by the university. It's a museum, but it's also a social community space right on the edge of Lake Superior, where it will be in residency for about 5 weeks. And people can come for public sauna sessions ranging from Thursday to Sunday, different times, or also they can rent it privately, like their group. So if like you've got a group of buds, you can come in, say I want to rent that for the whole 75 minutes. You'll get to look out on Lake Superior.
Would you give this how would you grade this residency location at Glensheen, A to F?
I think it's going to be an A. People are super excited about it. Now, props to Earthrider Brewing. I just did a residency with them, which I love. They're my people. They're salt of the earth.
And this is in Superior,
This
Wisconsin.
is just across the bridge, right? They're gritty people who make really, really good product, but they're not flashy and shiny. They're just down to earth. So that was a great experience. I'm going to be returning there in late February. But we're trying I want to kind of bounce around and see what fits.
I love it.
People are super excited about Glensheen because they've done such a great job inviting the public to their space in the summer for free concerts on the pier. It's this iconic...
Is it an A location then?
It's an A location.
Can I go in the lake when I come visit you?
There is no lifeguard on duty.
Oh, so I see you pause with that. But it's physically possible.
It is physically possible for you. I will not stop you.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you think many will go in the lake?
Possibly. There's a big sort of uptick in this like immersion therapy, cold plunge sort of. And I could take or leave cold plunge as a sort of practice. But like I don't care about how much time you're in it.
Yeah.
But I think if it's a natural body of water, I'm in, right?
I am so right there with you. I did not go in the cold plunge last night.
Yeah.
It was late in the day.
Yeah.
I don't know how many other bodies
were in that water. But the bucket rinse was
I love
fantastic.
a bucket rinse. I love a snow pile. There's something, I don't know why, but it's just different to me to sit in the river, sit in the Leicester River, or
the best.
walk into the lake.
But this Glenstein residency will allow you to go in the water, or is it hard
I'm
to get there?
being very vague.
I know
on
you
purpose.
are. I know. I'm cornering you with it.
Because here's the problem, Glenn. We're a business, and so now we deal in liabilities.
I
This
get
isn't a
you.
backyard sauna.
Is it slippery to go in the water?
Well, there's
there?
a retaining wall, but a path down.
Okay.
But my point is I'm working with a really large entity, the University of Minnesota and Regents.
Okay.
And they have a very large risk management team, and so they're like, "Is this going to happen?" And I was like, "I'm not providing."
You're on a don't ask, don't tell program.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Very diplomatic.
Yeah.
All right. I want to thank you,
But
Megan.
I do know that the PR and marketing director of the University of Minnesota Duluth, Lynn Williams, big sauna fan, is like, I'm going in the lake.
Okay. So Lynn will set the tone.
Yeah, I hope so.
Okay. Very well.
Yeah.
Now I get the answer to your question.
Yeah.
Well said. Thank you, Megan.
Thank
Any
you,
other
Glenn.
words for listeners to Sauna Talk that you'd like to offer, share?
Yeah, here's what I'll say. I am late to Sauna Talk. Didn't know who Glenn Auerbach was until I was like, I'm gonna buy a mobile sauna. Hadn't really thought about it much before 2.5, 3 years ago. And I will say to Glenn's longtime listeners and new listeners that Glenn is the real deal. Totally authentic, genuinely wants to help more people get in sauna. It's not about, more followers, more listeners, more likes, and millions of dollars. Just genuine love of sauna and the people of sauna. So.